Welcome to part 2 of the Darksiders speedrun tutorial. Before we continue, let me show off sword cancelling. This will be the main form of attacking throughout the run. The way to do it is to do a simple sword swing with left click, then cancel it with block once it's out in front of you. After you block, you can do another sword swing and block again. The key to this is timing block after the sword hits something and going back into the sword swing as fast as possible. You don't want to alternate between the two keys. It's best just to think of it as one input of Alt left click. Like the rest of the tricks in this game, the inputs are pretty simple, but there's a high skill ceiling for consistency and speed. So take some time to practice that. Keep in mind that the sword doesn't hit every enemy at the same time, so you'll want to be able to vary the block timing instinctually. When you're done trying out that technique, we'll climb these vines and head over to this SUV on the right. It's time for the second Carglitch. This one will need slightly more setup though, so hit the SUV before picking it up. The glitch requires the car model to go from the new to the damaged state, and by default this SUV has too much health. From there, do a couple jumps forward to the back side of this pillar. We'll press up against it, and then hold shift, hold focus, and do 2 quick backward taps, making sure that the back of War's foot is lined up with the end of this tire mark texture. Once you have that, just jump up and throw the car to get it stuck, and then jump back and right onto this railing. It's important not to get the car too high. The air block technique no longer works outside of prologue because you need a specific power up for it to have an effect. Anyway, from here, just jump forward onto the SUV, onto the second floor of the parking garage. We'll just be going forward and opening this elevator. After this cutscene, just jump out and to the right, then up and out into the room. We can skip the puzzle in this room by dashing out and jumping onto this broken pillar. It's a little bit tricky to land on it at first, but once you get a feel for how War moves, it's not too bad. From here, just swing your camera around and look up at this balcony. This jump is awkward. We have to jump straight up first, and then during our double jump, hold W. Otherwise, War just hits his head on the underside of it. If everything works though, you'll just kind of warp up and grab it, and then you can dash to the end of the hall. On these vines, you just have to do like a specific dashing movement. On this last part, you have to climb up slightly so that War will actually grab onto this right side. And then just jump up and dash forward, and we'll make it into the furniture fight. This fight is where we'll start using sword cancelling. The zombies die in a few hits, and we need to kill 11 of them. For the second phase, we'll be using the tables and chairs on the left side of this room, so just take care not to kill too many of them. There's not a perfect strategy to this room. I just like to kill the 2 or 3 on the far side, and then kind of loop back, and enough should be getting up that you can get the 11. Once the second phase starts, we'll just be heading left, throwing all the tables and chairs in our way. Hold focus to make sure that you're hitting the big blue guy. Once you get to the piano, just kind of start heading back and to the right and finding more ammo. You should die before you run out of all the furniture, but that one move he does where he does the fire along the ground can take out a lot of your furniture, and you might have to use sword cancelling to finish him off. Anyway, once he's dead, we'll just be going towards the barrier and then trying to sword dash through this hallway. There are zombies on the second floor that War targets onto, so we have to make sure to set this up correctly. So you want to just hold focus once you get to the top of that stair, go right around this wall, and then start sword dashing. As you go left, you'll lock onto this first enemy. Just keep holding left to go around them, and then backward once you make it, and then just alternate between left and back to go around and make it through the room. The goal here is to get 500 souls for Vulgrim, which we can do by unlocking a hidden treasure chest by taking out all the fire hydrants. We'll want to come over to this first car, which we use to throw out the first hydrant since it's so far away. It's on the far corner of that sidewalk, but you don't want to just throw it straight at the hydrant. If you throw it a little bit to the left, the explosion of the car will take out the hydrant. It can take some time to line up, but as long as you see that water spout you know that you got it. Then we can use one of the zombies to sword dash to the other side of the plaza. We'll be walking into the rest of the fire hydrants since they're in pretty close proximity. And just not worrying about any of the enemies because they aren't a real threat. Luckily it makes a nice loop without having to go too far out of the way. The last one is up here by this mailbox, and then we'll get a small cutscene with the treasure chest appearing. And since this has all 500 souls, we'll open it and then just head back to Vulgrim, and he'll give us the first gear or sub-weapon.
These ancient gates have a mind of their...
As soon as you see the quest text pop up, the weapon will be in your inventory, so you have to then click, or pause, click, and equip it. And once you have it, just exit the menu and start using the horn. It has a ridiculous range, so you don't have to worry about being too close. Then we'll just dash backwards into the door and open it. This library is pretty simple. You just want to optimize your dashes to go through it, and then jump to cross this water. Be careful of this yellow guy. It's not too bad to juke him out though, but sometimes 3 dashes will work better than 4. Then we'll just be continuing on, again trying to use sword dashing wherever it's available. In this room, there's 2 enemies at the bottom of that pit on either side, so we'll want to aim with kind of the center of War's head, just like right here, and that'll make it so that when they appear, if your dashing is good, you'll have like a perfect line all the way through. So you want to dash forward, hold back to turn around, and then hold shift. One thing I haven't mentioned about sword dashing is when you're going down slopes, you can have your dash eaten. When this starts happening, just let go of left click, and then for that slope in particular, your dash will go down it smoothly. It's only on some of the steeper slopes. But if you see your dash not going as you want it, then just let go of left click. Next up is the general fight. Right after the cutscene, we'll be using Horn to stagger him and knock him back. It hits him out of most of his moves, except for the block. So we'll skip the cutscene, turn around, and use the Horn, and then hit him 13 or 14 times with the sword cancel. After that, he spawns enemies, which we'll try to group up with the sword cancel, so that they can all get hit with Blade Geyser. Whether or not they're in a good pattern, or whether they come towards you, is kind of luck. Got good luck here. But once both are out, just let him spin at you, and then on all of his attacks, you can just jump and sword flip to dodge. Just keep sword canceling at him until he gets the prompt, but you don't want to take it because it's just a lot slower. The fight normally doesn't go that well, but the enemy spawns are really random along with their AI. You can do your best to group them up with sword canceling, but often you'll end up using Blade Geyser on like 3 of them. When killing the normal enemies, don't use the action prompt. This is one of the sections where we need to get extra souls, and you get slightly fewer souls with the action prompt kill. Same with on the general. Once the fight's over, you just do this really simple puzzle using sword dashing to try to move quickly between the 2 sections, and then we'll get the Samael cutscene. The written guide has a little bit better of a breakdown on the general fight, its phases, and what its attacks are. It just takes practice and consistent sword canceling to be able to kill him without much issue. From here, you just go forward, and we'll be floating over to this house that Vulgrim lives in. Once he does his intro, we'll be wanting to buy Meteor Strike? Meteor... whatever it is. It's the air dash that lets us do a lot of extra skips throughout the entire game, really. And so we just need a total of 200 souls, which is why it's important to try to not get the action prompt kills. Meteor Strike. So we'll purchase that, and then pause and actually save the game. Darksiders uses save warping in a number of areas. Go ahead and save anywhere you'd like. This particular save warp will put us at the start of Scalding Gallow and let us get a cutscene that used to be unreliable in the past. I think that'll do it for this particular part on the tutorial. I'll go ahead and do the normal playthrough and then pick up on part 3, going from Scalding Gallow to our first Out of Bounds. Thanks for watching.
Ancient gates have a mind of their gate. I can't wait to find out what's behind it. items that are of particular interest to me. Artifacts of the Fallen Legion. If you discover any Legion artifacts, bring them to me.